Hello to everyone. I'd like to show you something about the Cern, which I watching for a couple of months, and now I realize that there is something about what I think about it, and I'm going to show you something very significant and important. So first, official Cern, it's 27 kilometers long. So I don't think that something what it's that long, 27 kilometer, 27 kilometer, that can affect the Earth or Earth magnetic field or whatever. But I think that the bigger circle, significantly bigger, can do something to the Earth and to the Earth magnetic field. So, as you know, I follow the earthquakes and I watch daily. About every 5 or 10 minutes I watch the list of the earthquakes, where they occurred, in which time, everything what I'm interested in about the earthquakes. I realized something very, very special. So before I come to this point, I'd like to tell you something else. So I made a conclusion that this Cern circle accelerator, it's much more bigger and larger than they said, and they goes deep into France territory. Then I saw the logo of the Cern, which is in the upper left corner. As you can see, the logo of the Cern represents number 666. So if any one of you still think that this 36 are kind of joke or someone superstition invention, I must disappoint you and tell you that these numbers are very, very present in our lives, and I don't want to speculate about their meaning, but as you can see on this logo, we have two different sized circles, and I have made this blueprint much more before that I saw this logo, and this logo only confirms that I'm right, and I know that I'm right, and I'm going to show you what's going on with the earthquakes in Switzerland and with the earthquakes with France. So from time to time I just realized that in France they have earthquakes. Well, that was very rare, but every time I saw that it was earthquake in France, that was very odd to me, you know. I didn't even follow these earthquakes. But then one day I realized that somehow this French earthquake are connected with very rare Switzerland earthquake. So it's not a big deal because these two states are sharing the borderline, so they're neighborhoods, you know, and this is very, very near, almost an exact parallel or meridian. So I started to watch these earthquakes from Switzerland last 2 months, and I realized that this earthquake has deep connection with Cern. But not only Swiss earthquakes, but also the French earthquakes. So when they turn on the Cern, these earthquakes make some kind of shaking. Probably some frequency is shaking the ground, which affect the Earth and maybe its magnetic field or whatever it is, because I'm not agree with the magnetic field. I'm against gravity and against the magnetic field. I think that this is something else. But this is not the subject now for this matter. So I finally find very close connection to the earthquakes that occur during the weekend and the earthquakes in France and in Switzerland, because there are so many common things in these earthquakes, the timing, etc., etc. Unfortunately, I don't have any option to put them in a chronological timeline. So, for example, 22nd in France, 23rd in Switzerland, then 23rd in Switzerland, 24th in France, because I can only get the earthquakes from the one country. So they don't give you an option to put two countries in the same list. I don't know why, but okay. It's the rule of the website and I cannot change it. So it's a little bit difficult for me to show you chronologically earthquakes in Switzerland and earthquakes in France. So I must to show you these earthquakes separately. So let me show you something. So what you see here is the earthquakes that occur above the 6 Richter scale from 22nd of April till the 26th of April, which include 3 earthquakes in Nepal and some earthquakes near Australia and New Zealand. Please pay attention on the hour of these earthquakes. It's 7 o'clock in the morning, it's 6 o'clock in the morning, almost 7. It's 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Then we have 3:30 in the morning and 11 o'clock in the morning, 11 o'clock in the evening. So please try to remember this. Try to remember this time of these earthquakes and the dates also. And I'm going to show you what's going on with the earthquakes in the Switzerland, because I find a connection between the time in the Switzerland and France with these earthquakes which occur around the world during the weekend, when a lot of people have a headache, and I will make a special part of the video about the headache during the weekend, but this is very connected to this what I'm going to tell you. It's all coming from the Cern, because Cern is not affecting only Europe, it's affecting the whole globe. So please, if maybe it's going to be rather or better to put down the time of these earthquakes, just put it in 7 o'clock, 7 o'clock, then 6 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, let's say 3 o'clock in the morning and 11 o'clock in the evening. So if you can put this on paper, because this will be very interesting, because I'm going to show you now something from the Switzerland and from the France, and you will see how these hours are corresponding to the activity in the Cern, which according to me and according to my research are very, very, or even same as the hours of these earthquakes. But I must warn you something. There is always same distance between this time of the earthquakes, about 12 or the 6 hours. So we have repeatedly sequence of 12 and 6 hours, and that is very, very interesting, because 6, we have 6 hour, 12, it's 2 times 6, so it's a 666, you know. That's very, very significant. I didn't even think before I watched this, but now watch this, what's happening. Okay, this is the earthquakes from Switzerland during the weekend from 22nd to the 28th of the April 28th. But what we missed here in between are the French earthquakes. So the French earthquakes are coming in the middle of these missing dates and missing time. But what we got here, look at that again. We have 1:30 in the morning, which is almost 2 o'clock in the morning. So we call, remember, 2 o'clock in the morning. Then we have 10 o'clock in the morning. Then we have 2 o'clock, which corresponding to the first earthquake of the 1:30. And then we have 9:43, which corresponding to the earthquake of 26th of April at 10:20. So this is all very, very connected, and you will see when I put inside here the earthquakes from France, you will see the distance between these earthquakes. It's fascinating. Not always sharp, because we don't know what they are doing there. We don't have any information how the Cern works. So if anything goes for hour and a half forward or backward, this is not because this is not a connection between these earthquakes. It's because it's some kind of the delay, or I don't know, whatever it is, which we are not aware what is it for. So this is very, very interesting, especially the force and the depth of this earthquakes, I mean magnitude. So we have 1.5, 1.5, 1.6, 1.7. So you can see how this thing is rising, and the most strongest earthquakes, the final point of the strong earthquakes, coming to the French. So I think that the French part of this Cern, it's some kind of a trigger for this earthquake. So when this French earthquake come to a very high scale about 3 or about 2.9, 3, you know, whatever, that means that something is happening somewhere. We don't know exactly where and why, but all these earthquakes that I showed you before, somehow corresponding to these earthquakes of Switzerland and France, in this time difference between 12 and 6 hours. This is very, very interesting, and I don't believe in coincidence. For me, coincidence do not exist. So let's see forward. So what you got here is the missing dates and time from the Swiss earthquakes. So look what we got here. Swiss earthquake rarely go above the 1.9. So this is the 1.7, 1.9, 1.8. This is some kind of how can I say, that magnitude belong to this part of the circle. So probably this accelerator is accelerating on the French part of the territory, which rise this earthquake to 2.8 and 2.5. But now watch the time of this earthquake. So we have 9, we have 3, which is 6 hour distance. We have 8, 58, which is 9, and it's again 9 o'clock. So we have always this 6 time distance between these earthquakes. So when you put this list together, you get something very, very connected with the magnitude, with the time of the circus, with the coordinates of the coordinates of these earthquakes, because this all lays on this 44 parallel, 44 parallel, yes. So we have this, what is between these parallels is the length of the Cern. So length of the Cern, if you watch the Swiss earthquakes and the French earthquakes, takes about 3 degrees of length on the globus. So we can very easily go to the Google Earth and count what is the real size of the Cern, because these earthquakes shows the length of this accelerator. So one they have for the public, which is 27 kilometers, and another one they have for their purpose. And I think that this is the real thing. So I put that on the paper, and I will read to you and tell you what's going on. So 22nd of April, French, 2.5 time, 3:36 in the morning. In that time, in Santa Cruz Islands, occurred the earthquake of 6.3 Richter scale. So next day we have, it's 23 of April, Switzerland, earthquake 1.7 at 9:43, which is almost 10 o'clock. So we have nothing occurred that day. Very interesting. Now, 24 of April, Switzerland, 1.6, time of earthquake 2 o'clock in the afternoon. In same time, Queen Charlotte and the southeast of New Zealand, they have 2 earthquakes, 6.0 and 6.1. Then 24th of April, we have French earthquake, which occur magnitude 2.8 at 9:09 in the morning,